Hello, I'm Sandy Priester, and I'm going to talk to you about Reiki and Healing Touch, how they're different and how they're similar, and a little bit about their roots. Reiki is a spiritual practice from Japan that promotes stress reduction and relaxation and also promotes healing. It brings the body into balance to support healing. It was developed in Japan by Dr. Mikao Usui in the 1920s. It is now practiced by an estimated 3 million people around the world. Reiki training has several levels. There's the first degree, second degree, advanced Reiki training, and Reiki master teacher training level. Some teachers combine the last two levels into one training. The lineage is very important and is quite complicated, actually, which is why I'm showing you this chart. Most people in the United States, I would say 99% of the people who are trained in Reiki in the United States have a lineage that is exactly what's shown here in the circled area. Dr. Mikao Usui, who then trained Dr. Hayashi, who then trained Mrs. Takata, who lived in Hawaii, who then brought Reiki to the United States and the world, and Europe and the world. She trained many, many, many people in this country and around the world. However, there are other lineages, and a lot of people don't know this. Dr. Mikao Usui, founder, trained a number of Reiki masters, and one of them was Takitomi. Besides Hayashi, he trained some others too. This particular lineage I'm showing you is William Rand's lineage, mostly because it's such an interesting lineage. William Rand has been attuned and trained by all of these people. It's pretty remarkable. For example, Takitomi, who then trained Koyama, who then trained Hiroshi Do. So that's one lineage that we almost never hear about. Another lineage is Dr. Hayashi, again on the right-hand side, who trained Mrs. Yamaguchi. Now, Mrs. Yamaguchi trained Amanda Jane, and I've actually been trained by Amanda Jane, so I actually have that lineage as well as the Takata lineage, of course. So there are lots of lineages, and this is just one example of how complex the Reiki lineages can become. Healing Touch, let's talk about it. Healing Touch uses gentle touch to assist in balancing your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It supports your natural ability to heal, and Healing Touch was developed right here in Colorado. It was developed by Janet Menken in the late 1980s. Janet was a nurse who had studied many modalities from around the world and then pulled everything together into a modality that she termed Healing Touch. It is a continuing education program for nurses, and it's endorsed by the American Holistic Nurses Association. Healing Touch training consists of 5 levels of classes. There is a mentorship that generally is about a year, and then there is a certification process. And I am certified through Healing Touch. And Healing Touch has a lineage, not as complicated as Reiki. It's not as old as Reiki. It hasn't been around as many years, but here's the lineage. Janet, who founded Healing Touch, began 2 organizations, Healing Touch International, which was the nonprofit organization, still is, and Healing Touch Program, which is the for-profit organization. She established them both, and they operated for many years in collaboration with each other. Then in addition to that, there were some other offshoots that she did not develop, but her students developed. Healing Touch for Animals, Healing Touch Spiritual Ministry, and there are some others. And then after Janet died, Healing Touch International became Healing Beyond Borders. Healing Touch Program remained Healing Touch Program, and they're 2 separate, very separate organizations now. Reiki and Healing Touch. So those are some of the differences. Let's talk about their similarities. Both of them have a founder and a lineage, and I've shown you the lineage of both. Both of them have tools and techniques. Reiki has symbols. We have the power symbol. We have the mental emotional symbol. We have the distance symbol. We have the master symbol. They all do specific things. Each one does very specific things for us. Healing Touch has techniques. In Healing Touch, we can use the pain drain for pain. We can use mind clearing to help people clear their mind. We can use hands in motion. There are a lot of techniques that Healing Touch has. So they both have tools and techniques to help get the job done. They both have an initiation of sorts. Reiki has a formal initiation. Reiki's initiation is an attunement. It's a formal attunement process. Whereas Healing Touch, in the Healing Touch process, people come into the class, they learn the techniques, and then they practice them. They get on and off the table. They receive and they give. They give and they receive. They receive and they give. And so they are in the energy of Healing Touch off and on all day long for several days during each class. And so the energy is in and around them. And in a sense, it is an energetic initiation. And then finally, their outcomes are very similar. Healing Touch and Reiki both produce a sense of deep peace and relaxation. They both help with pain. They both help with stress. They both help with depression, with fatigue, with nausea. And they both help promote just a sense of deep calm and also a spiritual connection. So the outcomes are very similar. So regardless of whether you practice Reiki or Healing Touch, they're both powerful, amazing modalities. They work very well, and we use both modalities in LifeSpark. And here's a quote from one of our participants that was in our program. The love, the patience, the relaxation, the healing, I didn't have that anywhere else in my life. And of course, she's talking about LifeSpark. So that is the benefit that these therapies can provide for people with cancer in our program.